Welcome to day one of the mini coaching session. So, self improvement is confusing. It can be incredibly confusing. There's so much information around it. Self improvement gurus and coaches and influencers are always telling you things to get you motivated and change your life. But then you're left with all of the steps in between trying to figure them out on your own. So, in these sessions, you are going to get a zeroed in glimpse of how I use the AVR system, which I introduced in the masterclass if you haven't watched it already, to help my clients undergo self transformation and reinvention in Deen and Dunya. So, where do you start? Where do you start in self improvement? You start with getting sick of yourself. And what do I mean when I say getting sick of yourself? Getting sick of yourself is extremely important in your self improvement journey. It is when you recognize that you are not where you want to be. So think of it this way. Imagine wherever you are, imagine 5 more years of being the exact same. Imagine 10 more years, whatever age you are, add a decade to that. So I'm 28, 38, 10 more years of this. 20 more. It should scare you, you should feel terrified. If you want to embrace a self improvement journey, you need to start by getting sick of yourself. Many of us in the homes that we lived in our families, whatever, we were just told what to do. So we never really got a chance to develop a sense of autonomy on our own. And that's really hard when it comes to your self improvement journey because it's like you have to make decisions by yourself now of what you want to be and the kind of person that you want to be and what characteristics you want to exemplify, what habits you want to have. Starting off with getting sick of yourself is gonna help you to embrace that autonomy because now once you realize, "Hey, I'm not comfortable with where I am. I need to change things," the next step is you recognize that you have the power to change those things. This is a one part in your self-improvement journey where you're allowed to be harsh with yourself, right? You're allowed to see things for exactly what they are and what it is. There's a term in chemistry that I want to introduce you to. And it is activation energy. If you've ever studied chemistry, you know this word. Activation energy is basically the minimum amount of power that needs to be generated for a reaction to take place. When you're getting sick of yourself, you're trying to build the activation energy that is going to drive you into doing something about it. So, whatever it is, that embarrassment that you feel, that shame that you feel, the recoil that you experience, I want you to let that generate enough activation energy to get you to do something about it. If you just self-flagellate and you just shame yourself and then nothing comes out of it, all you did was mess around with your mindset, push yourself further into depression. You did nothing good for you. You need to identify what you don't like and why, but you need to also embrace your autonomy. You need to truly believe, like, hey, yes, I'm here, but I can do things to change it. I can affect where I am. I can become a different version of myself, and I can be a version of myself that I'm proud of. And all these things that have held me back in the past, no matter how difficult they might seem. I mean, I'm a trauma coach. I work with people who have been through hell and back. Nothing will keep you away from that transformation except for you. And sometimes you have to have a modified approach to it based on your circumstances, but it is possible. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala constantly encourages us towards self-improvement. If it wasn't possible and only certain people can do it, and whatever else the narrative is, that's the limiting mindset that we might have, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would encourage us towards it so heavily. I want to share actually a really cool concept here, which is how Umar ibn al-Khattab would build his activation energy. So Umar ibn al-Khattab, who is a companion of the Prophet ﷺ, used to always wear a ring. And the ring that he wore, obviously it wasn't gold. So just in case you see that, that's just a picture. He would wear a ring that said Kafa bin Maut wa'ada ya Umar. And that translates, the inscription on the ring translates to death is enough of a warner, O Umar. The point here is we know that the end of our lives can come at any time. Why would we want to leave this world spoiling our potential, knowing that there are things that you can do? Very often people say later, later, later. But remember when we spoke about it in the beginning? Remember when we talked about 5 more years of doing this, 10 more years of doing this? Later isn't guaranteed, and later just means, like, it just means that you haven't done anything. Later means that you're just complacent. So you have 2 options. You can either say 1 day or day 1. And I hope that you guys are willing to build the activation energy to the point where today will be your day 1. Those memories are very powerful. And now that you've generated the activation energy and find yourself frustrated enough to do something about wherever it is you're at, you are ready to watch the next video for the next step in the AVR process. So you can go on to the next video and I'll see you there.